Alright, so today I'm going to be reviewing the InterMountain SD40-2 in the Canadian National X Illinois Central scheme. Retail on this model is $299.98, but you can pick one up on trainworld.com, which I'll leave a link in the description to, for $149.99, which I think is a pretty good deal, considering the fact that it has sound. It also has LED lights and really amazing detail. The packaging on this model is essentially exactly like the old Athearn RTR style packaging, where you have the block of ice on top and on bottom of the locomotive. I don't know if I prefer this type of packaging, but it's definitely better than having to get out a screwdriver every time you want to unbox your locomotive. Included with this model are a couple extra detail parts that aren't installed when you first buy the model to prevent damage in packaging. Included is a horn, sunshades, and drop-down steps, which I believe all are brass. And I really like how the horn looks. It's probably one of the best looking horns I have ever seen in HO scale. I do like the scale trans horn, but I think that this one might look just a little bit better. It looks very good. And these would just be easy enough to install on the locomotive. They might even be friction fit. I also appreciate that InterMountain has included handrail protectors so that your handrails don't get smashed in transport. Or, if you really don't want to break your handrails, then you can leave those in all the time. While it won't look realistic, they'll keep the handrails nice and straight. But, honestly, InterMountain has some of the best handrails in the industry. So, I wouldn't be too concerned about breaking your handrails unless you're grabbing the locomotive by the handrails or grabbing a locomotive in a way that it's going to snap the handrails. When I first got this locomotive, I was very impressed with the detail, and it is fairly good detail for the price point, and I really like some of the small things that they've done to make it look very cool. One problem that I did have right out of the box was when I went to take the locomotive out of the box by the first time, I just grabbed it by the shell because that's what I'm used to doing with all the other locomotives that I own. But this one, for some reason, if you pick it up by the shell, it causes the shell to bend in a way that I'd be concerned that you would snap it in half. So the shell doesn't have a whole lot of structural integrity to it, which is very concerning if you're going to be carrying this locomotive around a lot, taking it to the club, or even letting other people use it. So let's get into the details. On the front of the locomotive and the rear of the locomotive, you're going to have Katy couplers that are matched up with really nice looking coupler cut bars that can be moved. You're also going to have a really nice looking plow with air hoses. I'm not exactly sure what the air hoses are made out of, but they're very stiff, but they do have a little bit of flex in them so that they won't just snap off. Up here you can also see the ditch lights, which are illuminated with LED surface mount lights, and you can see some of the details up here. There's wire grab irons all over the locomotive, and the handrails, again, are very, very sturdy. Here are the wire grab irons on the front of the locomotive, which are very well done. You can also see the windshield wipers, which I believe are photo-etched brass, and they look really good. The middle ones even have a tiny bar going across them, connecting the two of them, just like on the prototype. The headlight and number boards are lit, and the number boards are actually controlled separately on function 5. The side of the locomotive looks just as good as the front. Here you can see the separately applied brake wheel. You have a mirror, I believe, and the cab windows looks really good. This is one weird thing about this locomotive. It has a GE logo on the side of the locomotive. I'm not entirely sure what it says beside the GE logo, but I can guarantee you that an EMD locomotive would not have a GE sticker on it. On the side of the locomotive, you can see the very nicely done printing that's everywhere, including on the fuel tank. You can also see the nicely done handrails again with rolled stanchions. Up here is the dynamic brake hatch, and then you also have some more details that are all over the place. This locomotive is loaded with details. InterMountain did a very good job on it. You can see all the lift rings everywhere, and the radiators actually look really good, which is surprising. Some radiators just simply don't look good. On the rear of the locomotive, you can see that there is the Katy number 5 knuckle coupler, along with air hoses. You can also see this little MU stand, which is a nice detail. You can also see that there are the lit number boards and the lit headlight, both lit with LEDs again, and the number boards are separately controlled. All the grab irons on the back of the locomotive are perfectly lined up and they look very, very nice, same as the front. The top of the locomotive is also loaded with details. You can see that there's the air conditioning unit, and here's the mounting hole for the horn. You can also see that there's a grab iron on top of the nose. Here we have the dustbin hatch and the exhaust, which both are not see-through, but they do look good anyways. You can also see the lift rings that are everywhere. You can also see the engine access doors. This would be for if they had to remove something large from the locomotive. The radiator fans look very good, and I know it's hard to see, but there are separately applied little fan blades in there. I don't think that they spin like on the Athearn Genesis models, well, at least on some of them, but they do look good anyways. My favorite feature on these locomotives for details are these see-through steps, and these look very good, and I really like how the yellow striping pops. And I know that these might be a little hard to see in normal operations, but I like them anyways. As for functions, I'm just going to keep it basic. F5 is your number boards, F6 is your ditch lights, and F0 is going to be your headlight, which is dimmable with F7. F1 is going to be the bell. F2 is the horn, which by default is a Leslie 3 chime, and it's very responsive. F3 is going to be the coupler clank. And F8 is going to be your startup/shutdown. F9 is ESU's drive hold feature. You're going to want to read the manual to learn more about this. Overall, I think that this locomotive is very well worth the price, and it's not even that expensive, so I would definitely recommend that you get one of these if you're looking for a decently priced, very well detailed 6-axle road diesel. And I am going to be purchasing some of these for myself. As I mentioned before, this one is not for me, it's actually for a friend of mine. So I'm going to be purchasing some of these and then sending them up to Engine House Services in Green Bay to get them repainted into the Wisconsin Southern scheme.